Hi, I'm Bev from New Zealand, and just got a little testimony to share to you about inner healing. I went to a healing meeting, inner healing day, and I didn't realise that I had depression. I just wondered that I'd wake up and feel that I was walking through sludge. And I'd ask my husband, he says, no, I don't get that, but I'd have it for days. So anyhow, I had, they were talking about the crushed human spirit, and I was a bit, really hit me. And so these ladies prayed for me, and I was totally healed from that depression I used to have. And I didn't realise it till a few weeks later, and I happened to be mentioning it at a lady's cup of tea morning. And this woman there who had been born, her auntie said that she was an ugly baby. So the mother took that on board. The mother tried to drown her at 8 years old, and she was put in foster care. And so what happens, all her life this woman thought she was ugly. And so she'd been on antidepressants for 20 years. She had osteoporosis from the time she was 40. She was about 50 at this stage. She had celiac disease, and her body didn't take up nutrients. And she heard my testimony, and she thought, wow. She used to come into church late and leave early because everyone would think she was ugly and didn't want to talk to her. So she heard my testimony, and she thought, if it could happen for Bev, it can happen for me. So she got prayer, inner healing prayer, and she was totally set free. The specialist has even given her a letter to say that she's totally healed from osteoporosis. He said, you don't understand. He said, you do not get healed from osteoporosis. You are totally healed. So she has a letter that she was going to a meeting. She had celiac. She was going to a meeting, and the Lord told her to eat. And she said, no, I'm not eating, Lord. And he said, eat. He said she heard this voice twice, eat. She didn't eat, but she went over to, she said, Lord, if this is you, you have to tell somebody else to tell me, because I would be so sick eating any of that food that's on that table. So she was about 1,000 people there. She happened to go across to a little 14-year-old girl, and the little girl said, oh no. And she said, what's wrong? And she said, well, I said the Lord gave me a scripture for you, but she said, if you bring that lady over, Lord, I will give her that scripture. So my friend walked over to this 14-year-old girl, and the 14-year-old girl gave her the scripture in Matthew. Why should you worry about what you should eat? So she turned around and went back and just pigged out. And she was fine. And anyhow, apparently she's taking up iron and all the nutrients that her body should be having. And I felt to tell her that just as her mother rejected her body was rejecting all the goodness and things. And anyhow, she had healing. She's just a totally different woman. She now takes grief counselling. She does counselling. She has a ministry where she speaks in churches, and she's just this most beautiful lady. She's become very beautiful. So, and she's very full of the Lord. So that's her testimony. Bless you all.